I see the live button.
Okay, perfect. All right. So this is for a class on sustaining digital literacy. And our kind of final project is like throughout the class, we've looked at hot topics in education, like flipped learning and the gaming, gamification, just all these sort of hot topics. And then the final project was pick something that maybe we didn't cover or we just touched on and investigate it on your own. And then we kind of present, create a presentation with it. And part of that is to interview an expert. So my project's on this idea of open access and open educational resources. So just these resources that are available for anybody to use. Open educational resources kind of have to have three criteria: digital, editable, and obviously they're free. And then open access, again, free. So all of that. And then one of the things that I kind of thought of right away was teachers pay teachers, because that's a great resource. And I kind of posed this question in the first or second week of the class, and then that's kind of where my project has gone from there, is like, is there a right or wrong? Should you be compensated for your resources or not? And like all these different sides of it. So I went on to Teachers Pay Teachers and kind of looked at like the top sellers and started reaching out to people, and eventually I came to you. So that's just quick background. And so I'm just intrigued to hear your take, because I do think if you put a ton of time and hours into something, like, you know, then there's that compensation piece, which is nice too. So if you just want to start, can you just share a little bit about yourself, kind of who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Sure. So my name is Reagan Tunstall, and I taught 18 years, half of my career in California, half of it in Texas. I'm from San Antonio now, and but I did my student teaching in LA, and then taught my first 10 years in Northern California. So I've primarily taught primary grades. I also got married my first year of teaching. So, and we have two teens, 15 and 16. So we are busy, and it's crazy, and they're learning to drive, and it's awesome.
That's great. I also got married my first year of teaching. So I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I did all that, but no, somehow I got through. All right. So I saw, do you currently teach? I saw you do some like conferences and professional development and stuff. So I wasn't sure if you're currently teaching or not.
Right. No. So about 5 years ago, I started to present with staff development for educators, as well as in my district as a teacher leader. And then in 2014 was my last year in the classroom. And I have been presenting nationally to schools or districts, or doing national conferences, primarily K-2 teachers. And then at the same time, a couple of years ago, right after I was feeling, you know, I guess teacher guilt, because I was presenting, so I was absent a lot. And then my mom got sick. And when my mom got sick, I think the emotional stress of that, plus being out for her as well as being out for conferences, it was just too much for my students. And I felt so guilty that I decided to take a leave of absence for 2015-16 school year. And during that year, right at the beginning, actually, I had a call from a math company that manufactures and distributes like Pearson and Houghton Mifflin and those types of things. And they had discovered my guided math resources, and they asked to come down and present a partnership opportunity. So I had no idea that was coming, and it was just perfect that I happened to be home. And so that really just kind of shifted things to where that became such a huge focus for me. And so I've been working with them since then, as well as, you know, on my own. but I decided to stay out of the classroom because the presenting picked up, and it's, you know, like, I don't think there was 1 week this summer when I didn't travel and present, which was completely awesome. I never anticipated that ever. So, so I'm still doing that now.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So going back to specifically kind of teachers, pay teachers, kind of, can you talk about a little bit of like what your journey was, how you started, and kind of where it's gone and how that came to be?
So it kind of goes back to like my first year of teaching, because when I first started teaching in California, I joined a team of amazing women who were like 1 or 2 years from retirement. I'm still friends with them on Facebook, but they were like incredible teachers of like 30 years. And here I was, completely brand new, out of college, and there was no internet. Like, I think we had a computer, but it was like to type out Word documents. Like, we didn't have the internet. There was no email. And they put me out on a portable. So that whole year, I was just desperate to know if I was measuring up. But the only information I had was like what I learned in college from a book or from a professor or from a master teacher. So I truly longed to know what was going on in other people's classrooms, but I was like isolated in this portable. And that's kind of where the story starts. But with TPT in 2010, once the internet came out, I'm super old, I would always spend my weekends like going through and looking for ideas and whatever I was going to teach. And I started a teacher blog, but it was not for teachers, it was for the parents of my students, because that was like the new thing in 2010. So I was all excited about that, and I was posting what we were doing in class for parents, and nobody was looking at it. I couldn't bribe them, they were not. And then one day I noticed that I had a comment, so I was all excited that a parent had commented, and it was actually a teacher, and she had asked me about something she saw in the background of the picture. And that was a pivotal moment, because I realized that teachers were just like I was at the beginning. Like, we want to know if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We want to know if we could be doing more. We want to see into each other's classrooms, but we can't because we're isolated. So that's truly kind of where it started for me. And I couldn't believe that teachers were asking and looking at this blog. And so it like fueled my fire. So now I was going to school for my kids, but I was also going to school like what I could share with teachers at the same time. And it really kind of motivated me and got me all excited in a whole new direction. So I switched that blog to a teacher blog, and it's the same one I still have today. And as I was like sharing with teachers on the blog, people would ask, you know, hey, can you put this on Teachers Pay Teachers? And I didn't know what that was, but I started to, I went over there and started to put things on there, and that's kind of how it started.
Okay, that's awesome. And then I guess schedule now kind of gives you the time to keep up with that.
Yeah, I did it for, let's see, so I did it for quite a few years. I think 4 solid years, where nights and weekends, it was just like completely, I was just completely consumed with it. And so the first 4 years I was doing it as a side, you know, just because I loved it, absolutely loved it. And was also, you know, our family was going through financial problems, and it was a way for me to help with that as well at the same time. So it was just like the perfect solution. And then, like I said, in the fall of 2014 is when I started to do it full time.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, and then kind of like my last question, you did kind of answer why you do it, but thinking about that concept of open access and open educational resources, like, what do you feel are some of the benefits and or downfalls of free resources? And then on the other side of that, what are the benefits, you know, of resources that you pay for or that you're compensated for?
So I have a pretty strong opinion. I have 49, I think, free products on Teachers Pay Teachers, and but I have 600 total products. So usually, if something's for free, it's usually like a snippet of something larger, or it might be just something someone asked for that's quick and easy that I can definitely help out with, or like just an organizational thing, something where it's not necessarily like hours of work. No, didn't have to research, just kind of, oh, I can make that for you. And as far as, information, I absolutely love research and information. So like, as far as my blog goes, I have 7 years of blog posts, and that's me sharing, I guess, my interpretation of research out and how things went as a teacher to teachers, absolutely free and out there. But as far as where I draw that line, I would say when I do spend the time and effort, and it is something that, I guess when I'm going to put my copyright on it, that's when I feel that it's adding value, and it's something that I've invested time and research into, that I then, it's almost like it's sort of like a job to get compensated for. However, I don't expect people to buy it, so I don't know what that means. But as far as accessing free information, and especially that word editable kind of freaks me out, because I know that teachers are resourceful, and we take and we rearrange and we use, and that's kind of our craft. I mean, it's part of the job. But and I know a lot of resources on TPT, especially the free ones, especially the dated free ones, kind of aren't great. And I am guilty of the same thing, like things that I have up there from before 2013, I absolutely cringe. And I've gone back and either like made things free or even deleted them, because it's not current, it's not research based, it's outdated. And I think that a lot of times when we're searching for free things on TPT, we're finding that type of stuff outdated or not research-based, or a lot of effort didn't go into it. And so I guess that then you get this stigma of what resources are like on TPT, when if you were to download something that, that I currently do, I would hope that you would be like, wow, this is really going to enhance my teaching. This is going to help me out. Like, I've got the research and I've got the differentiation and it's standards aligned. And so it's adding value to your teaching day, but it's also a culmination of those 18 years of teaching. And it's like, here, this is a great way to teach this from an experienced teacher who has read the research through the years and who has like the classroom application as well. So I really do think it's, there's a lot of factors in determining when something is valuable and worth paying money for, and when it's more of a, hey, I can totally share that with a teacher. It's, this will help her out. This is easy to make, and no big deal. So I don't know. I hope that helps you.
No, it's perfect. I mean, really, I'm just doing research, and I don't even know if I really have like an opinion one way or another at this point. I'm just kind of trying to see what's out there. So that's really all I have for you. I'm going to, I love real quick, I love that you mentioned the blog, because that's something that in this particular class, our professor has really kind of pushed, I guess, a little bit. And then he's also been like, if what you do with it after this is totally up to you. But he's like, I feel like kind of just that reflecting and sharing your experience. And he was like, if we could tie this to teacher evaluation, like, that'd be great. Like, just look at a teacher reflect. And
the more vulnerable you are on it, like when you say, man, this lesson was terrible, and I'll tell you why, and you just put it out there, it's like, you make connections and friendships, and people say, oh, me too, awful, and it's like, you're not going to be perfect. There's no way. And so, we drive home and we're thinking about our day, but even just to put it out there and then to hear back from people, it's so awesome, because teaching is so hard. And I think having that connection with other people that get it is so important, because you do get burnt out.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing, like I'm entering my 4th year. So like I'm still young, and I think I'm finally just starting to discover like there's this whole other world out there, and there's all these teachers who are willing to share and talk. And so I appreciate you taking the time, you know, tonight, just to talk for a couple of minutes. And I'll send you an email to follow up and link everything. And then I'll send you the link to my blog. Just, it's nothing,
Awesome.
it's basically graduate work, but you could at least take a look at it if you're interested.
Okay.
So,
Sounds good.
thanks so much. Have a great night.
Yeah.